Hello there, welcome to the Holtzman Zone, my YouTube channel. I'm here today with Domingo. Domingo is a friend of mine here at the Cresta Mobile Home Park. He's a wonderful gentleman, a heart of gold. He helps me with some of my Instagram videos. He's very popular, he's a character. He'd give you the shirt off his back. So I thought today I'd like to interview Domingo and tell us a little about himself and his life. And Domingo?
Yes, sir.
Tell us how long have you, tell us a little about yourself. How long have you been in California?
Well, I was in the Marines in 1956, and I got out in 59. I was 18 years old when I went in. I did good. I did good in the Marine Corps. I got honorable discharge with conduct medal. And I went back to Texas for a few years.
Just talk a little bit louder.
I went to Texas for a few years, and I came back in 1964 in an old car. I went to Palm Springs. I worked there about 3 months. I had some friends in Redondo Beach, by the beach, a block away from the ocean. And from there, I met my future wife. We got married, had our first child. And then later on, I started going to welding school under a GI Bill. And little by little, things started getting better and better. And I've been retired for a few years, in 1905 from the railroad, Union Pacific Railroad.
2005?
Yes, sir.
2005. Speak up just a little bit.
I retired in 2005 from the Union Pacific Railroad, but by that time I had put 25 years in the aerospace. And I worked 3.5 years at the U.S. refinery, Chevron USA refinery in El Segundo, and from there I went to the railroad, and that's why I retired. I put 10 years there. And I'm doing okay, thank God.
And how old are you now?
Total of 82 years old, and I got 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren.
I think it's fascinating to talk to someone who's 82 years old, because it's very difficult to get out of the 70s. As we know, we lose a lot of loved ones and friends in the late 60s, the 70s. It's very, very difficult to get out of the 70s. That's why when you reach 80 years old, it's such a tremendous celebration. So I always want to hear what people have to say about things. And so you've been retired since 2005. What kind of advice can you give to people who are retiring?
I beg your pardon?
What kind of advice would you give to people who are retired to keep busy and keep healthy? I know you walk every day and you're in pretty good shape.
Well, at a very young age, I ate pretty healthy, good food. And I did a lot of walking, long distance walking. And after I retired, approximately a year later, I started doing my power walk. I used to go around the park 7 times, but I was pretty tired. So I cut it down to 6 times. It was over a mile. And then I finally just started cutting back to just 1 mile a day early in the morning, 5 days a week, from Monday to Friday, and I just always find something to do. Always been very, very, well, let's put it this way, you kind of find a little something challenging, electronics or working on the car or cleaning the house. That's what gets me motivated. And I got beautiful children, beautiful grandchildren.
How many grandchildren?
Got 7 grandchildren.
Wow.
And 3 great-grandchildren.
And you have a son and daughter?
I have my son, Robert James. He's the oldest. He's on vacation right now in the Midwest. He's coming back to California. And my daughter, her and her husband got their own personal business.
So you have seven grandchildren?
Yeah, so
they're
all grown up.
Just from two children gave you
Two
7
children.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. Just from 2, so that's you're blessed. You're blessed.
Thank God.
So, how old were you when you came to California? You've been in California your whole life?
And I was approximately 25 and a half, 26 when I came back. And California is the best state that I can pretty much boast about it because this is where I have made and learned my livelihood. I got a bunch of awards on my wall next to my humble discharge, my good conduct medal,
You were a Marine, is that right?
former Marine, Semper Fi.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, welcome, sir.
And what were your duties on the railroad? What was your responsibilities?
I was in the repairing rolling stock, and I was a welder, but I did a lot of repairs. Some of them heavy, some of them kind of light, but I did pretty good, thank God. I never got hurt.
In case you're wondering, we're in the community center of the mobile home park, and in future videos I'll show you my residence and maybe walk you around the mobile home park so you'll get an idea. But right now we're doing this interview from the interior of the community center. People used to come in here and use the Wi-Fi, or they come in here to just relax, and so this is where we're doing now. So you've seen a lot of changes in California since the 60s, huh?
Absolutely.
Tell us about some of the things that you noticed the most about the 1960s Los Angeles and 2020s Los Angeles.
Let me back off quite a few years. In the 50s, when I was in the Marine Corps, from 56 to 59, it was a different class of people. They were very respectful. They were very polite. Everybody wore a necktie and a suit or a sport jacket. And the beaches were polluted.
The beaches weren't polluted?
They were not polluted. And no bikinis, just one-piece bathing suit for the ladies. And everything was hunky-dory, everything was good. And in the 60s, then, when I came back, little by little, the hippie era started kicking in. But I never had any problem with nobody as far as the hippies or anything like that. The police were pretty hard with the hippies, but they didn't bother nobody. Most of them were just college folks. They were just a different experience. Unfortunately, the Vietnam War came, and it was a real sad time for the whole world, the Vietnam War, unfortunately. And my son was very little. He was born in '66, Robert. So I already put my time in the Marine Corps, and I was working for a defense plant, so I didn't have to. I already put my time in the Marine Corps. I couldn't be trapped or anything. And then in 1971, our daughter Stacy was born, our second child, and I started getting better at my welding, and I did pretty good. And I'm real proud of my family, I'm real proud of myself. I have lost a lot of friends through the years. I have lost a lot of neighbors here in the park where I live through the years.
And what are some of the changes you've seen since in the 50s and 60s till modern day Los Angeles today?
Yeah, fortunately, in the 60s, even in the 60s, people were still pretty friendly, courteous. Nobody was racing nobody, cut nobody, or no gang shooting of any kind. Crime was low. Unfortunately, it started kicking a lot of people from all over the world, and there was little by little since California had started changing. Unfortunately, some things for the worse, and the jobs start being depleted. Most of your companies are moving out of state, and he had never been the same no more. And now went through an epidemic back in the 70s with the AIDS virus, but eventually they kept bringing it under control. Unfortunately, now it's the coronavirus, and this one is pretty sad, unfortunately. A lot of people are scared, a lot of people are real angry, and all the jobs are gone. A lot of folks are not. I've never seen so many homeless in my whole life sometimes in the 2020s. That's pretty much it, folks.
And so, and a lot more people too.
Whole lot of people want everywhere in the world.
LA is very crowded now.
Beg your pardon, sir?
Los Angeles is very crowded now.
Super crowded and more homeless in Los Angeles than anywhere else. They come from all the other states this way. And unfortunately, a lot of, just hate to say it like this, but a lot of things have changed for the worse. People are not friendly, people are kind of mean. They're in a bad mood, most of them are broke, they have no money, very little money, and no shelter of any kind. No job to begin with. And I think it's kind of a sad times right now, especially with this coronavirus.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this is a difficult time for a lot of people. A lot of different things that they have to deal with that they didn't have to deal with before. Employment, housing security, it's just the virus, the quarantining, the overcrowdedness, so it's a challenging time for a lot of people. So what kind of advice in closing, Domingo?
Beg your pardon?
I said, in closing, what kind of advice would you give to people who are struggling now with different things going on in their life? What kind of advice would you give people?
I don't have no word for that. With due respect, because since everybody thinks different and life, our society has changed unfortunately a lot in more ways than one. People are not friendly, and well, it's just a different situation altogether. It's very sad, unfortunately.
Well, thank you, Domingo.
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
That was Domingo, my neighbor, my good friend, and my compadre. And I just wanted to get his take on some things. I thought it would be an interesting interview to hear from somebody who has a lot of experience, who's been around a lot, who's a salt of the earth type of person. I've never heard Domingo say a bad thing about anybody. And he's just a great neighbor to have. There's nothing like a good neighbor, somebody who takes you good and takes you bad. Nobody's perfect. I think that's what everybody's looking for, the perfect friendship, the perfect friend. Nobody's perfect. We all have our discrepancies and our character flaws, perhaps in certain areas. I think for good friendship, you have to overlook it, not be too sensitive. So I hope you enjoyed today's interview with my name is Domingo, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.